of them should be held responsible because the police officers, the good ones, as they say, they don't testify against them. So they're all bad. If you're a part of that gang, you need to quit your job.
Wow, a slap in the face to law enforcement just days after an NYPD cop was killed in cold blood, who, by the way, was African-American. Hundreds descending upon the streets of Midtown Manhattan to march against cops and even chant expletives for those who protect and serve, and were protecting them on that day, too. Here now to discuss where we go from here, Fox News contributor and former homicide detective Rod Wheeler, who was out and got those sound bites for us and did all those interviews, and Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. Since we spoke to you, Rod, earlier, let's get the sheriff to weigh in. Sheriff, your reaction to some of the sentiment you heard on the streets on Saturday.
Well, it's just crazy talk. That's ignorance in its purest form. You know, I think we need to rethink this strategy. I don't know why the police even bother policing those demonstrations. They're not protests. Those people advocate for the overthrow of our legally constituted government.
What I would do says they have
is
a point,
let them fend for them. Let them fend for themselves. Let the good law-abiding people of New York clash with them for disrupting their lives, disrupting their businesses. Then the police can show up and arrest these subhuman creeps for creating a disturbance. That we can do.
Now, Rod, do you have a different sense? You're actually on the street talking to them. Number one, did the cops play an important role in keeping them safe? And you tell me about the sentiment you heard.
They did, Brian. I mean, the cops were out there. You know, I must say that the police were taking a lot of verbal abuse while they were out there, and it was really unfortunate. But I also must say that the police did not turn their backs on the citizens, and even the people that had the biggest mouths out there, the folks that I was talking to, if they were to call those police officers today, those same police officers would still be there to assist them. Look, Brian, it was just last week when a young New York police officer was gunned down in cold blood right here in this city where I'm at now. And you know what? This officer hasn't even been eulogized yet, and these people are out there talking about deaths to cops. So I think it's ridiculous, and I wish that the politicians would speak up a little bit more, because actually, you know what I think? I think a lot of these protesters get their energy from some of these liberal politicians.
And
that's just my opinion.
And Rod and Sheriff, I want to bring it to the president. I'll just paraphrase what he said. Essentially, he says these are people who are very angry and they're standing up because this has been a wrong that has not been righted yet. Your reaction?
But you know what, though, Brian? A lot of the people I talked to, I'm sorry, Sheriff, a lot of the people that I talked to, they were saying that their frustration, believe it or not, is with the government, and they specifically said, Brian, President Obama.
Wow. Sheriff, go ahead.
Well, first of all, there is no police brutality in America. We ended that back in the 60s. So I don't know where they're coming from. You look at the data and the research, and there's a new Harvard study out that shows that there is no racism in the hearts of police officers. They go about their daily duty, if you will, to keep communities safe. The President of the United States knows better. He's playing the race game. He's playing race politics. Shame on him. He's been very divisive for this country. He has been a nightmare, and I cannot wait until January of 2017 so that America's nightmare can be over.
Black Lives Matter, does it play an important role? First, you, Sheriff?
No, it's garbage. It's a subversive movement. Like I said, they advocate the overthrow of our legally constituted government. It is not a protest movement.
Rod?
I think, yes, it does matter. I think all lives matter, and I think what they're arguing about and protesting about is valid. It's just the way that they're going about doing it, I think, is totally misdirected, Brian.
It isn't valid. Knock it off. You're contributing to the problem here. It is not valid. There is no research.
But some of those
show me
people,
the data. Show me the research that demonstrates or supports that lie that law enforcement officers use an inordinate amount of force against black people.
Yeah, but Sheriff,
black
you have
people
to
use
admit,
an inordinate amount of force against themselves and each other in the American ghetto. It is not true about the American police officer, and I'm not going to let anybody come on TV
but you have to be fair,
that.
Sheriff, about all of this. Some of those people did have some valid arguments, and I'm not saying at all, and I would never suggest police officers just go out and do things wrong to people, but there are some valid arguments that we both, on both sides, need to really take.
There are no valid arguments. There is no police brutality in the United States.
Sheriff Clarke, Rod Wheeler, thanks so much.
Sure, thank you.
We're talking about this way too much. All I can tell you is you better show respect for people on the streets, whether they're state cops, local cops. They need to be respected, and I don't like where it's trending. Thanks, guys.